And welcome into Hometown today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Wally Lukashenski back in the Daily Dodge studio with you this morning with the man, Cale Zomer himself, up in the WBEV studio making us sound good. Hometown today is presented by Professional Floor Covering and McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. Stop into McKinstry's now and discover their Power Lift Chair Recliners. They have the largest selection in Dodge County, ready and available for prompt delivery. With the touch of a button, these chairs lift you to a standing position or recline you to take a comfortable nap. I need that right now, Cale. I know we've been talking a lot about these practices and things with the kids. I can't walk this morning. So having that ability, it's going to push me up to my feet. I mean, you can't beat that. So you can even get a lift chair with a heat and massage or with an adjustable headrest and lumbar support. Some models even have cup holders and wireless phone chargers. There are a variety of sizes in stock from small to the big mans. Prices start at only $7.99. Don't worry about that power going out because the lift chairs come with a battery backup. Delivery is free. If one of your loved ones needs a lift chair in their room at an assisted living facility, McKinstry's will deliver it. McKinstry's is a lift chair service center. McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. You can use that entrance in the tower parking lot, which is handicap accessible. And now I'm very excited this morning. We are joined by two great guests, UW Extension's Patty Carroll, the Human Development and Relationships Educator, and Tricia Peterson, the Director and Admin for Future All-Star Academy. How are you both doing this morning?
Great.
Wonderful. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. It's great to have you. And I would like to start, first of all, with a little bit of background about yourselves, how you became involved, and if you can tell us again what groups you are affiliated with.
Absolutely. So I'm Patty Carroll, and I am the Human Development and Relationships Educator in Dodge County. And gosh, what does that really mean? My background and my area of expertise is in family development, child development. And so I work with parents and through family engagement and parenting education, but I also support and work with early child care. And Tricia is my partner, a community partner. I work with the Dodge County Area Directors Caucus, and Tricia has been involved with the Directors Caucus, meaning a group of professionals, administrators, owners and operators who work in childcare. And Tricia, do you want to introduce yourself?
So my name is Tricia Peterson. I own and operate Future All-Stars Academy out in Juneau, Wisconsin. We've been open for 13 years, but I've been in the field for 27.
Yeah, and well, how did this partnership come to be then? Over the years, like, again, childcare is something that's ever growing, always top of mind. Well, what made you two realize that this could be something you can work together on?
So one of the things that maybe folks don't understand, but early child care professionals are required, mandated to have professional development credits. They have to have 15 hours of professional development mandated by the state of Wisconsin in order to maintain their licensing. And so when I started my career in Dodge County 15 years ago, I had inherited the Directors Caucus and providing professional development. And so we've gotten together, not just Tricia, but many different directors, Joan Beck and Renee Henning and Chris, many different directors. And we also partner with the Greater Watertown Area Health Foundation. I must say that, and Every Child Thrives. But what has happened recently, and it's not even recent, Wally, it's been going on for years and years and years, that early child care, the old daycare, but we call it early child care, it's just an industry that's been suffering for a long time, and yet it is so essential. And so right now we are in a situation in which Tricia and I and others are trying to build awareness around why people should even care about what is happening in the industry and how will it and how does it affect Dodge County.
Yeah, and a lot of people out there maybe don't have children or they don't personally think that this is something that affects them. It doesn't in a lot of areas where these are going to be future individuals in the community. You got to help at this critical juncture of their life to actually be developing and all that. You guys have been working together. I know we're going to set the table a little bit now and then talk about it in a few minutes, but you guys are working together and trying to solve some of the problems that have arisen in the last few years.
Yeah, I think that's true. And it's not just Trish and I, believe me. There's been different types of advocacy going on for years, but it's really ramped up because we had the potential to have some funding through our state legislatures. Do you want to say any more about?
Yeah, it's called Child Care Counts. So we were able to receive funding through the ARPA funds through COVID, and it was helped to sustain childcare because at that point we were essential to build us through, and now our last payment is coming next month. And with that, people have to figure out how to sustain themselves for the rest of our, life and business time. So I think that's where the scary piece of it comes in, is how our only income is parents.
Absolutely.
So how can we make them pay more when they can't afford any more to help sustain the teachers that we have to provide the quality care that we can give?
Yeah.
So this help that you guys were receiving during this period of time, are you comfortable talking about what you were able to use that for and like those benefits that were coming in?
Yes. So our center, Future All-Stars Academy, used it 100% for wages. Previous to COVID, our average wage was probably between $11 to $13.50 an hour.
Wow.
And with that funding, we were able to give at first bonuses, but then we had to give the wage increase, and we were able to give $3 to $4 increases for them to stay, because that's what builds your center are your employees, and they are the vital piece of our success.
Well, and we've seen too, like whether it be inflation or just life in general, it's so expensive now.
Yes.
It's hard to live on $11 to $13.50 an hour. It's basically impossible. So to be able to give the bonus wages, you're being able to keep good childcare professionals in this field where, again, otherwise we're just trusting our kids with anybody.
Great.
Wow.
And we're known for the revolving doors. So people say that all the time. I'm very blessed to have the staff that I do have that don't leave me all the time. But there are some centers that just can't keep their workers because of pay, no benefits. I mean, childcare we're in a crisis right now, and it's real.
Yeah, and I would like to talk more about that crisis, especially on the other side of this break, about what that looks like for childcare professionals, what it might mean for the future, and how we might be able to help. But we're going to take a quick break and come back and dive into some of these issues right here on 95.3 on Hometown Today. That's coming up next, and you are watching on Daily Dodge TV.
This update.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam and Professional Floor Covering. We're joined once again this morning by UW Extension's Human Development and Relationships Educator, Patty Carroll, and Trisha Peterson, the Director and Administrator for Future All-Star Academy in Juneau. Thank you both again for joining me this morning. We started talking a little bit. Man, I've got a frog in my throat. Excuse me. Well, we were talking a little bit before about the crisis right now in young development for children and what that might look like. Can you tell us a little bit about what this crisis actually looks like for people that might not be aware?
Yeah, so when we talk about the early child care crisis or crisis in the daycare situation, what we mean is that we have child care professionals who are underpaid and overworked, and yet they are essential in the growth and development of children. 0 to 5 is when the most brain development happens. And if we can't teach children 0 to 5 how to have social and emotional skills, how to be able to interact with each other and be ready for school. And that's what happens in early childcare. We get these children ready for school. And so what happened, Wally, over the course of why this is coming to a head right now is during the pandemic, child care centers were essential workers, and they received funds, ARPA funds, the American Recovery Act, funds that went to essential workers, and they got funds. Early child care centers got these funds, and now their last payment will be given in June. And so they're trying to figure out how to maintain their high quality care that they'd been giving with the rug being pulled out from them. And I think people don't quite understand it. They say, well, what? Well, they did it before. No, they weren't. They were paying their employees anywhere between $11 and $13 an hour. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine paying someone who is taking care of your baby $11 an hour. I mean, they can make more money working at Walmart, being a grocery shopper at Walmart. They can make more money doing just about anything. And yet these women care, men and women, but mostly women, care so much about early child care development and early care, and it's a labor of love for them. And yet they are not being compensated. And so when Trisha used some of the ARPA funds, I'm calling them ARPA funds, for wages, she was able to increase wages by $3 to $4 more an hour. So let's say she's got an employee making $17 an hour, which is still substandard. It's still poverty wages, but she's paying someone $17 an hour. And now when the money's gone, how is she gonna ask the parents to pay more for their child, which they can barely afford childcare now? And so this is a double whammy. It's the business model, the early childcare business model is suffering greatly. Parents who are trying to work and do the best they can are suffering because they can't afford early childcare. And so we're sick to death about this. We are very passionate about this. Mm-hmm. And people might be, oh, what can we do? What can we do? Well, one thing you can do is contact our lawmakers, our legislator, Mark Bourne. We've been talking and trying to articulate the best we can why this is so important. It's not just Dodge County, folks. It's all over the state. And contact legislators, right? That's one thing we can do. But also, we're trying to build awareness. And if you're interested in having Trisha and I come to one of your church groups or your Kiwanis group, or if you're working right now, you're working and listening to WBEV, and you want your employer to learn about this, because we also are encouraging employers to enact family-friendly policies, or maybe an employer could subsidize some early child care. There are ways, very complex ways, but there are ways that if we come together as a community, we could maybe solve some of these problems. But it ain't going to be easy.
No, it's a very complex issue. And I got to ask, too, because you mentioned that there are opportunities for you to come in and explain a little bit more about what the crisis is and what we can do to help. How can they reach out to you and figure out how to do that?
So you can contact UW Extension Dodge County. I'll give you the number, 386-3790, 386-3790. There's a couple of gals that answer phones, and they can write a message. My name is Patty Carroll, and just call the Dodge County office, or you can email me at patricia.carroll@wisc.edu. And Trish and I would love to go out and meet community people where you are and explain more about why you should even care about early child care. And I'm going to tell you, it's an economic driver. It's a workforce development issue in Dodge County, because if we don't have quality early child care, guess what, folks? We're not going to have people able to work and provide and contribute back in our communities in the future. This is a major issue, and people don't they tuck their head in the sand because they think it's an issue that doesn't affect them. But the next time you're at the restaurant and there's a server or a waiter waiting on you, or at the grocery store and you're checking out your groceries, people get trained from 0 to 5 in these early child care centers, and they need support.
Absolutely. Is there like resources out there where people can learn more too in the right now, where whether it be like, hey, I just don't know enough about this. Do you guys offer any kind of like services or resources out there where people can learn a little bit more, or they can go back here and watch on Daily Dodge TV, see this interview once again as well?
Yeah. I did pull some research and some information. I don't have it up on our website, but that's a really good idea, Wally, that I could maybe put a couple of articles up on our website. So if you visit UW Extension Dodge County, our website, there's a human development tab. And I write articles, or, all of the educators in the extension office, the different program areas will write articles or have things on our website. But you can go ahead and take a look at that website. But also,
WICA has a webpage of advocacy. It's called Raising Wisconsin. WeCan also has a page. There's so many childcare groups that you could go on. Facebook is a huge piece of it. And any expert in childcare can tell you the crisis that they're dealing with. They all have their own stories to share. One of the biggest things I want to say, though, is childcare we're the only industry that can't charge the true cost of care. And I think that's the biggest piece that people don't understand. I know for me, it would be over $700 a week, and who in Dodge County could afford that? So we have to push our rates and our expenses and to pay our bills onto our families. And they literally can't afford anymore. I know I had to make, I think it was a $52 increase for 2025 to stay open. But I can know the end result of this. And I hope the Joint Finance Committee is listening, AKA Mark Bourne, to understand that if this doesn't go through, there will be so many centers like my own that will have to close, because we have no other choice, because I can't foresee my family's putting out $420 a week for an infant. That's just unreal.
It really is. And when Tricia said WICA, it's the Wisconsin Early Child Care Association. So Wisconsin Early Child Care Association, and they have advocacy page and information too. So, and maybe I can try to link to that from the Dodge County Extension webpage. I'll have to go back and talk to our people at the Extension office.
Well, and I imagine too, just hearing this issue, so it's not even going to be just childcare professionals that are going to be hurting for the long time here. It's going to be the children who are going to also not be getting the care that they deserve. And then you're talking about, you mentioned, this is one of the most critical junctures of these kids' lives. And then they're kind of being thrust to the wayside, so to speak. Yeah. You mentioned some of these meetings that you would be willing to do. what are some of the plans itself that you think that could go and help the early child care development, make sure it stays afloat and keeps thriving?
Well, okay, so Tricia said it very well just now. The Joint Finance Committee, they have an opportunity to maintain those funds. They have to get it in the budget. So that's number one. But number two, there are things that the community can do. So businesses can think about subsidizing childcare and or making child family friendly policies. Working hand in hand with early childcare. There are things like public-private partnerships that do and could exist. Businesses could think about on-site facilities, on-site childcare, but we're also interested in helping the businesses, meaning Future All-Star Academy. We want them to succeed and grow too. There are different community-based initiatives that other communities have worked on or looked at. And then even just training and support for early childcare professionals. And that's where I come in and other entities come in as well. So there are things. But number one, we're building the awareness, especially now that our legislators can think about funding this. They can make action. They can do this. And we would like to see if we could apply that pressure a little bit,
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic cause that you guys are both here for. I very much appreciate you being here. We still have one more full segment that we get to talk about ways that we can help here, how this crisis could look if we don't address it down the road. Mm-hmm. And we'll address that on the other side of the break here on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
DailyDodgeTV.com. We head back down to the Daily Dodge TV studios and Mr. Wally Lukaczynski.
Thank you very much, Kale, and welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam and those great friends over at Professional Floor Covering that Kale was just talking about. We are talking this morning with Patty Carroll, the Human Development and Relationships Educator with UW Extension, and Trisha Peterson, the Director and Administrator for Future All-Star Academy in Juneau. And we've been talking a little bit about the crisis this morning in early child care development or for professionals and everything that surrounds this. And I'd like to kind of reset that a little bit, just talking a little bit again about why child care at this age is so important and why there needs to be a heavy emphasis on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, early childhood development, 0 to 5, is an important developmental time for children. It's the time in which the brain develops. Children are learning social and emotional skills that set them up for lifelong learning and success later on. If children 0 to 5 miss certain milestones, it's very difficult for them later in life. So early child care provides kids with a foundation, children with a foundation of those honed in social and emotional skills. Things like being able to share toys, things like being able to take turns, things like being able to be patient or follow two-step directions. The things that early child care providers, professionals do for early child care 0 to 5 is super important. And having good, high-quality early child care is really important for society in general. It's important for parents so that they can feel confident going to work and earning a living for their families. They can feel confident that their child is being cared for in the best possible ways. But it's also an economic driver because parents need high-quality childcare for their children in order to work. If they don't have childcare, they can't work. And so it's an economic driver in our communities as well.
And I'd like to turn over to you, Trisha, now, just because I'd like to ask from your perspective with the budget cuts and what this next little bit could be. If nothing is done, what could happen down the road, or what could you see in this field from your perspective?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but right now my career is in the hands of the Joint Finance Committee. So if they choose not to put us in the budget, the likelihood of us small centers, I own a childcare center that's licensed for 48. We consider that a small center. We'll have to close because there's no way my families could afford another $50 to $60 increase each week. Because right now we're over $350, and so I can't imagine in Dodge County families could put that into their budget because we all know everything has gone up in price. And so with that, our teachers need to be paid, and our overhead costs are just so much that we can't do it. So unfortunately, the likelihood of thousands of centers closing their doors in June when the budget is actually finalized is very, very high.
How can people help? Or you guys had both mentioned that there's opportunity that you guys can come in and talk and explain a little bit about what this crisis is and how we can help. How can people support? How can they do anything to help improve and keep you guys in business and keep everybody out there helping the kids at this point? How can we help?
I think one of the biggest things for us is businesses and parents to share their stories to our legislators, because that is the driving force of it all. I know there was one time that they had to close school, and I think it was a company in Mayville that 80 people called in sick because they didn't have childcare, because when the schools closed, the childcare centers closed as well because it was one of those crazy, snowstorms that we get in Dodge County in Wisconsin. And so they couldn't run their line that day. Those are the stories that they need to hear, because that's the essential piece of what we do every single day. We are opened minus holidays every single day of the year. So we help the children, with the base foundation, but then we also prepare them for school and move on, because at the end of the day, education doesn't start at 4K, it starts in the womb. And so we have to be very conscious of that. And I think the biggest, scariest thing is what's going to happen in June and really dictates where our lives are going to go, because the ripple effect is going to happen. At the end of the day, it's going to affect the children, and that's the sad part.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because for people that don't think this again affects them, this is something that is going to affect a lot of people. Whether even if it isn't you directly, it's going to be people that you are very close with, your loved ones, family members, and again, this is the most important part of a child's development from 0 to 5. And I know that this is something too where it's got to be pushing people out of this field. And then all of a sudden, you don't have those high level of care, that those professionals in that. Have you seen that already happening in your work right now?
Yes. I don't want to share this, but on Tuesday, I just got one of the girls that works for me for the last 13 years gave her notice.
Ugh.
And I think it's one of those pieces that we deal so much and we have such passion about our, education is such a passion and a personal thing. And we put so much of our, everything into it that we've had to justify what we do every day, right? And we've had to advocate like no other before. I think we're the only industry that's ever had to justify like why we deserve what we deserve, So yeah, so people leave all the time, unfortunately, because of that. They can make more money at Quick Trip. They can make more money, building their second business of whatever they choose to do. It's just unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
It is. And I know in about 2 minutes we're going to have to shift gears briefly to talk about a few fun things programs that are going on with UW Extension. But before we close the door on this, I want to give you guys final word on anything that you want to share or something that maybe we haven't hit on yet, or just something you want to really hit home.
2 things. Contact UW Extension Dodge County 386-3790 if you would like Tricia and I to come out to your local group to really talk more about what we can do and why this is important. And then the other thing, Tricia, is why don't you encourage people to contact their...
Yeah, the biggest thing is contacting your local legislators and making sure you share your story of how childcare is important to you, how this could affect you, price increase, how much percentage of your budget, of your household budget is going to childcare. Share your stories and just encourage your businesses to do the same, because I think the ripple effect's going to happen is we're going to close. Children are going to be at home with one parent, so we're taking a parent out of the workforce, and the ripple effect of what's going to happen because we already don't have enough workers. So, and the criminal justice system is just going to continue to increase because the kids aren't going to have that foundation and that support to be safe. So.
That's a great point. I really appreciate you both talking about this. Obviously not a very fun conversation to have, but a very important conversation to have. So it's been great to have this conversation with you both this morning. And hard left turn now, but Patty, there are some programs and things that are coming up here with UW Extension. Before we wrap up today, I'd love to hear about what's going on there.
Absolutely. And Wally, it is a tough conversation, and we are so grateful to our partnership with WBEV. You guys have supported early childcare in ways, and we are very grateful as an industry that we've got your support. Yes, so family engagement and relationships classes all summer long. And you can go to UW Extension Dodge County, our extension webpage. This flyer is on the webpage, but we have Raising Wisconsin's Children, their lunch and learns. So moms and dads, you can come in online with a Zoom link and have some of these classes. We also have a class called Focus on Fathers. It's a monthly class, especially designed for dads. They're the second Tuesday of every month. So our next one is June 10th. Please join me. I'm teaching that one. And then we have another co-parenting class, Resilient Co-Parenting. Let's face it, divorce happens, separation happens. And so we have our Resilient Co-Parenting, and those classes are on June 5th and August 17th. And these are all online free classes where you can meet other parents and learn about different parenting practices, small little skills that will help you engage with your children. And then we also have a series called Strong Couples, because we think that, going downstream and helping couples who, before they have children, have a strong relationship so that maybe we can prevent divorce. But all of these classes are on my Dodge County website. So please visit Dodge County Extension website. Please give me a call. If you want Tricia and I to come out and talk about childcare and the childcare crisis, we are happy to do so. But also visit the website and join me in some of my parenting classes.
Yeah, those are going to be great opportunities too. Even if you think you have it all figured out, an opportunity for you to go out there, hear how other parents are doing similar things, hear from you with helpful advice as well, because we all don't have it figured out. Nobody knows what everything's going on. And there's always ways we can improve, whether that be in a relationship, as a parent, member of the community, however you want to look at it. But thank you both so much for coming in this morning. Again, I know it wasn't the happiest of conversations, but it was a very important one, and it was special to be able to share it with you guys.
Thank you
for having us.
Absolutely. And we're going to step aside now for one final break before Kayla and I are going to fill you in on what's going on in the area. That's next here on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
If you
Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering, also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. Wally Lukashenski and Kale Zomer up in the WBEV studio. Huge thanks to you as always today, Kale. And huge thank you to Trisha and Patty for joining us in the first 3 blocks today. Big conversation to have, so I'd recommend going back and watching that on YouTube if you were not able to catch it live. Kale, what is going on?
Oh, Wally, there is plenty of things going on these days here as of late. Today, we mentioned this yesterday, but today, head over to Pizza Ranch in Beaver Dam. They've got a community impact fundraising event going on today from 11 a.m. Until 8 p.m., and they are helping out the Schwant family, who, of course, lost much of their farm and their equipment in the tornadoes 2 weeks ago today, actually, if you can believe that. 2 weeks has already gone by, but so yeah, 10% of all sales today from 11 to 8, and 100% of all cash tips will be donated to the Schwant family to help in rebuilding their farm. So if you're not sure what you're going to do for lunch or dinner today, there you go. You got your plans in place. And speaking of farms, Wally, this Sunday is the big Dodge County Dairy Brunch that's going on. I know we talked to Brenda Conley earlier this week. Wade talked with her this morning. Going to be a good time out there at the farm. It's going to be at Plum Creek Dairy out on Laurel Hill Road, just outside of Fox Lake there. And Wally, you got to check out the Dairy Brunch if you haven't, because it is awesome. I mean, you talk about a menu, my friend. Scrambled eggs with ham and cheese. They got pancakes going on. They're delicious. I mean, good homemade pancakes. They've got a whole bunch of cheeses. They've got deep fried cheese curds. They'll have milk, juice, and of course, you can wash it all down with some Culver's custard.
Yeah, that was the thing that got me. Talking the other day, you got custard, you got cheese curds, you got pancakes. All of a sudden, I'm like, I know they're like, wow, Wally, come on in. I don't think they're going to want me. That's a bad sight, seeing Wally come into a breakfast like this.
Yeah, it's going to be, and if the meal doesn't sell you, I don't know it will if the meal doesn't sell you, but they've also got live music. The Gary Beale Band will be there. They'll have a petting zoo for the kids. They'll have a bunch of vendors out there. They're going to have a cheese pairing tent this year, which is new, that's right up my alley. I'm going over there just for that. So, yeah, going to be a good time. Again, that's this Sunday, June 1st, 9 a.m. to 12:30 out at Plum Creek Dairy, Laurel Hill Road in Fox Lake. And you, I think, Wally, you're headed out to a high school game this afternoon?
I am. We have the BD softball game. Slinger is coming to town, and the Golden Beavers, they're trying to keep things going, possibly have a new date with Watertown next week. Corey and I got out to practice with them last night, made a little bit of fools of ourselves, and I tell you, man, they are a talented bunch. So very excited to hopefully watch them win today. Anytime you get to play for a regional championship, it's a big day, so opportunity to get that done on your home field. I'm very excited for that one, Kale.
Absolutely. That you can catch that one over on Daily Dodge TV pregame coverage starting at 4:45 over there. Coming up at 11:10 this morning, Wally, we've got the Garden Doctor on the air with us from Jung's Garden Center in Randolph. So I know we are like getting into the peak of planting season here. So, if you got questions, Garden Doctor, we're got to be winding down for the spring season with Garden Doctor. So if you've got your gardening questions, you ran into an issue this past week, I don't know what to do about this, great opportunity to call in during the program this morning starting at 11:10. You can call in at 885-4446. And they'll get your question on the air and hopefully get it answered for you. And I'm excited for tomorrow, Wally. You and I get to go out on the road tomorrow for Hometown Today.
Yes, we're going to be out at Old Hick for our For the Kids golf outing. That's going to be a great time. I get to embarrass myself in golfing. And then on top of that, we get to hang out with a lot of great partners, great fans, opportunity, a lot of fun things that are going to be going on. It's going to be an all-day jam-packed event there, Kale.
You might be embarrassing yourself, but, for the safety of the golfers, I have been asked to just stay away from any golf clubs tomorrow, which is exactly what I will do. I'll be helping Charlie out at the tables with registration, and we'll have 50-50 raffle going on. We'll have raffle items. We've got a ton of great raffle items. I've been looking at some of those coming in. We got a cool golfing basket. We're going to have a great wine basket. There's I saw some really cool handcrafted cutting boards that are going to be up on the raffle, so check those out as well. So even if you're not a golfer, you can come out and check those out. Absolutely, you don't have to golf to participate in those. So we'll be out at Old Hickory tomorrow. Hometown Today will be an extended 2-hour edition from 9 to 11 live from Old Hickory tomorrow. So looking forward to it. Can't wait to get out there and do a little golfing and all helping out the kids in our area, raising money for the Good Comer Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon.
Jam-packed stuff going on. Make sure you go out tomorrow if you have a chance. A lot of fun out there at Old Hickory. And make sure you check out that Dodge County Extension website. Once again, UW Extension, excuse me, because, again, they have a lot of great events. And I know Patty was only very kind and only shared that for a couple minutes with us to wrap it up today. So go check them out. But thank you again, everybody. We will be back at Old Hickory tomorrow for Hometown Today. Have a great day, and we will see you same time, same place tomorrow on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.